Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go.
Hi everyone, Friday, July 11. This is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. My name is Anne-Marie Band. We are starting with the E-mini S&Ps. Looking sideways, we can see dips are still buy zones. Look at the ADR, right? The ADR lows, still trending higher. ADR highs, still trending higher. So we know that the dips are buys, but we are stuck in a range. And here's what this breakthrough stat tells us, that we've got volatility that breaks through prior resistance and breaks through prior support, not to continue, but to revert. So keep that in your mind as you're looking at trending formations. Keep your eyes squarely on the range. So if you get down to the bottom and you're staring down that 5 minute and you see it break down and you go, oh, there's my short, just remember the bigger picture says if it's a short, it's going to be a quick one, or otherwise you're going to go backwards. All right, moving average sideways. Momentum telling us we've gotten into that edge of support, likely to turn around. And as you recall from days past, this area around 62.80 is huge, right? It's almost a pivot zone where underneath it we have lower pressure, above it we hold, but we're spending a lot more time above it, just going to say. So dips into that area. If you're looking for the long, let it come in, test the zone, and move up. Point of control 6,272. I'd keep my eyes on that one as well. It's also right around that ADR. And remember, when we break through the ADR, we do have general reflexive movement for a short time. I'll show you how that continues in the chart we look at when we stare down Bitcoin. Opening range. We are well out of the opening range. We had a massive dip. We had a pretty solid dip into prior support action as we opened, but this opening range high, 6,293. Can you tell I'm not wearing my glasses? Cue up the cute little video of the girl hunting for her glasses. Love that video. All right, opening range. High, 6,328.50. Low, 6,320.50. 8 points. So, expansion, absolutely there, right? Big expansion down. What's the trade today? If we move over into the range area, range today, almost the same as range yesterday. So we've got those edges we want to look for in the chart, right? Trend is mixed. Edge is going to give you your pressure event. Let's go to the NQ. Same thing. As we take a look at the NQ, really caught sideways. Look at the breakthrough action on the super trend. Breaks through, reverts. Breaks through, reverts, breaks through, reverts. And so this is telling us that there is volatility, and they are stretching the traders that come into the bottom of the band before, or the top of the band, before turning them around in the other direction. Earnings week begins. Actually, I think earnings sort of began this week. Big earnings going to be next week. Let's take a look at the opening range in the NQ. Wow, it looks just like the opening range from yesterday, just a bit. Let's put lines around that one. We'll talk about them. Remember, they matter, right? So what did we do? Opening range high, 23,039.75. Low, 23,004. Why do I give you these ranges? Because you know they're action zones. So if we bounce into them, we've got ourselves a target formation off of the double bottom low here, which is not quite a double bottom. That is divergent action that's saying there's more negative pressure that's likely before it turns around. So we want to make sure of that, but it is sort of the guidepost of where we begin. All right, so those opening ranges, we broke out to the top of it and then completely collapsed all the way down, falling into the low of July the 8th. So that, to me, is pretty interesting. We want to keep our eyes on that number, 22,835. See if it ends up making a difference. That's very, very interesting. All right, trend sideways. Momentum negative. So if momentum is negative and trend is sideways, it's forcing the traders to try and find a bottom. We can clearly see sellers at the point of control right now, 22,920. How can we see that there's sellers there? Because there are no candlesticks higher, because they're all wicks here. People come in and they go, I'm selling that. Just like there were sellers up here at 22,965. That's what you want to watch for on these bigger time frames to help you figure out rotation and motion. Okay? So, that being said, that's what we are going to stare through. ADR here, not quite as lovely as the ES, but still trending higher. Still trending higher, but man, are we caught in a range. Deep dips, buy zones. Big spikes, sell zones. Everybody's expecting the Fed put to come in no matter what happens. People still think, hey, listen, they're going to drop rates if things get nasty, so let's just buy the dip. And that is the pervasive behavior across the board. Let's go to the YM. The YM has really been on its own train the last couple of days, for sure, right? But as we take a look at the YM, the range has been a little bit wider, right? But it's still a range. Look at the noise, step back and look at that picture, and what do you see? Well, you see if you'd bought it here on July 1st, sitting here on July 11th, you'd be essentially flat. There is no trend here, right? So what does that mean? Dips or buys. Value area low, 44,503. That's also pretty close to where the average daily range markers are. Nope, that's not true. Average daily range marker, 44,424. Super trend marker, 44,500. So we break through it. Look for the buy zones here. They're going to matter. If that alert pops up, I love these alerts. I mean, I've gotten so many good trades from them. It's ridiculous. The alert pops up. Wait for the reflexive action, and then follow that motion, whichever way the reflexive action goes. All right, opening range for the YM. High, 44,922. Low, 44,871. Well below. We know inventory overnight is negative. Should we have an inventory correction? Yeah, we should, particularly since we're at the bottom of the box. If we don't, that's going to be interesting. So here's the storyboard. Two things the big traders could do to put retail traders in the tumble dryer. They would force price action even lower. Retail traders think it's trend lower, and then they turn around, rip the rug out, and then move back up to the top. Okay? The next thing would be a more organized event where they base on the bottom, and then everybody says, all right, let's just go back up here and correct inventory. Because if everybody sold in the overnight, they're going to want to cover if all things are right with the world. And so that's what we actually expect for there. High edge, I don't know. You know, that opening candlestick high, the opening range high, 44,922, probably going to be that high zone. But again, use prior resistance off of the area and realize that it is jagged motion, and they are going to come after us if they feel like it. All right, let's go to micro Bitcoin. Speaking of things that break average daily range, insane motion. Everybody waited for the 110,000 break, and let me tell you, what does Larry McDonald call them? The tourists. The tourists in Bitcoin have arrived. And so take a look at how far out of the range we are. This is the call wall. This is the breakthrough area, right? But notice what happened yesterday afternoon in micro Bitcoin when it hit the ADR. Beautiful reflexive fade, and then gapped straight up, and it was off to the races. Opening range candlestick formation. Take a look at this. High, 116,930. Low, 115,145. So, cryptomania is in continuation. All right, it's broken through the tops of resistance and now is trying to hold a new formation. Take a look at this hourly edge. We've got traders buying the bottom at 118,000 and selling the tops at around 119,400. So up here could be another breakaway spot. As it sits in my mind, maybe people will take some profit today and we can recalibrate and get long again, but this is bananas. Let me draw a Fibonacci and see what this rotation looks like. See how much we've got on it. 2.5 is 119,800. So, up she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. Insane. And, it could be some short covering also. So we'll see how they rotate. Notice we've got a trimodal distribution here. Really heavy and aggressive formations. Yesterday, they just built a new ledge, right? And then the breakaway was just all she wrote. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. High potential, 120,000. Low retest. I'd love to see 114, maybe get back to this ledge of support at 113,730. But we'll see. All right, let's take a look at oil. Range. We don't have good trend, right? Our ADR is moving all over the place. It's up, and then it's down, and then it's up, and then it's down. So very, very sideways. I heard some people talking about, refilling the SPR. We can't refill the SPR until it's been fixed because the draining down during the last administration, structural integrity of the walls, which are made of some sort of weird salt something, they can't do it. It'll collapse on itself. And so that's got to be fixed first. I haven't heard them fixing anything. This is sideways. OPEC said, hey, listen, we're going to curb, and prices went down. I don't think OPEC has had pricing control for a very, very long time. But neither here nor there. What are we staring down? Look at this sideways area of inventory control. We just broke through it, 67.19. Pretty big number. The VWAP of this volume formation is right here at 67.50, right? Yesterday, the ADR came in at 66.50, and I thought, we were on Lunchbox Trading, I said, you know what, I love that as a long coming into the area. It broke down a little bit, and, my trade's been sideways until this break here, so I am going to go flat at this call resistance area. The opening range, very tight, very, very tight. High 66.97, low 66.85. Wow, 12 cents. And it gave us a megaphone, but it held the prior day's ADR. Now the big drop gives us a brand new low ADR at 65.13. That might be the next area of support, but I'm more inclined to look for the value area high at 68.13 as the next rise. What's the trend? What is that? That's lazy hills, rolling hills. So sideways to up. Dips are still buys in my mind here, but only into prior resistance. Should be another very interesting day with oil. Very, very interesting. But we'll see if they come back into this area of inventory accumulation and then move upward. I'm looking for the base to add again to this trade at the value area low, 66.60. All right, let's take a look at gold. Still in the Q contract, yes. Gold, what? Gold and Bitcoin, just crazy. All right, so gold back up to the races. Literally, I really did feel this chart needed to take a bigger breath than this, but here we are. Look at the size of this range. Look at this. Literally, we've been in this zone since June the 19th, right? So almost a month of trading, literally sideways, right? The big deal is going to be if we break the ADR up here. I think it's probably this line at 3,369. If we break that and head to the north, going to be more bullish. If rates come in, it's going to be even more bullish, right? Yeah. So what are we looking at? Opening range for gold. High, 3,335. Low, 3,332. Very tight opening range. What did we do? Chopped around for a couple of hours, broke out, retested it, and off to the races. So notice this is a weird grind here. Look at these candlestick formations. You can see inventory control clearly, inventory accumulation beginning at the point of control. Actually, the point of control was created by all of this inventory. 3,342, they bought the bottom, bought the bottom, bought the bottom, and now they've got a little bit of distribution. All the sellers that were up here are now trying to hold on as buying formations. My thought is the following. If we hold above $3,353, we are very likely to creep into this ADR, and that is $3,375. I mean, momentum is divergent, no doubt about it, but I mean, this can go on forever, right? I mean, momentum was divergent here, but it still rose for several hours before rotating, but it is coming to the top of a range. Momentum clearly is saying to me, hey, you're at the top of the range. So watch that and be careful. How did I do that? Okay, sorry. Chipped a nail. All right, taking a look at SPY. Opening range for the 4 a.m. candlestick on SPY. High $623.07. Low 622.23. So what is that, about 75 cents or so, maybe 80 cents? We're really in a pocket of inventory accumulation, right? If we draw another box here, we can see that we're still fighting in yesterday's range. This drives me crazy. Yeah, we're still fighting in yesterday's range, but there is a floor here at $621.50. Below that, selling pressure into the point of control, which is $620, right? And be careful trading this in the middle of this crazy noise, right? Dips are buy zones. It's only been sitting in this trend range since about July 3rd, this range, excuse me. And before that, it had a pretty solid breakout. So, trend moves sideways, probably going to break to the north. So, dips or buys. Dips or buys. They're trying to find support. We're still making higher lows. We just broke this edge and the gap down. Very likely to fill the gap. Very likely to fill the gap. All right, let's take a look at the Qs. Same sort of thing. Sideways action. This looks really messy, to be honest. Very sideways. Deep dips. Look for the buy zones at around 550, 549.50, something like that. If you want to buy here at this base at 552, also not a bad idea. The gap down, let's see what the opening range is. High, $553.25, low, $552.24, so about $1. But not doing a great job of getting up over the top of that range and staying there. So inventory is kind of sticky here, but clearly they're buying this area, 551 to maybe 553. It's going to be pretty interesting. 554.35 looks like the high end, maybe into the opening range of yesterday. This chart looks really bad. I mean, literally, it is very choppy. So yeah, I'd stay out of that one. I wouldn't trade the Qs today. All right, that's it for me, folks. I'll see you on the streams. We got Midday Moneyball. We're on the Benzinga Options Show today at 11. Looking forward to connecting with everyone. Got some really great ideas. See you later.